We see that President Obama has put out his budget, 320, what is it, 320 billion dollars. He's talking about cutting over 10 years from the Medicare and Medicaid programs. And so one of the things that I looked at, it was, is this really class warfare? Okay. But my question is, what class is he attacking?
You know, I get so annoyed when I hear the term class warfare. When the Republicans or the conservatives stomp you in the ground, they saying that's what you deserve, that's what you get, that's not class warfare. That's just
It's politics.
That's right. But when it comes to you rightfully demanding that you stop the slide, disparity slide, where the poorer are getting poorer, the richer are getting super rich, and we have the nerve to say something. We have the nerve to complain. We have the nerve to want to address that. Oh, that's class warfare. How dare you? How ridiculous is that? You know, and people accept it. Yeah. Oh my God, I don't want to look like I'm fighting class here. And I'm warring against another. Wait a minute. They've been warring against us for almost half a century. When I say us, not just blacks, but poor people have been getting poorer over the past 30, 40 years. And it's been has a devastating effect on the rest of us. But they have the nerve to come out and say, what? Class warfare. How dare you want a billionaire to spend $2 more in taxes?
Well, I think that the thing is that people have a misconception, and me and Lori talked about this before, where they're at. Because I remember Bernie Mac used to say that, where you at?
Yeah.
You know, remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but people don't realize when you look in the bank, where are you at financially? You know, where are you at economically? Where are you at politically? And those are the things that we need to understand. Again, there is classes in this society. People need to understand that. Okay? There's the rich, like you said. There's the middle class, which is constantly shrinking, and then there's the poor.
Yes.
And like I said before, I'm upper class poor. I am not middle class.
That's cute.
I'm upper class poor.
All right.
So the the question has to be, when we form alliances with other groups, okay, with whites, poor whites, middle class whites, people have to be able to see the advantage of forming any type of unit, right? Any type of, I don't know what the word is now, it's slipping my mind, but the alliance. Because both groups have to be able to get something out of it. And when Dr. King tried that, when he started talking about the Poor People's March, when he started talking about economics, he started talking about there's somebody at the top that's oppressing me and you at the bottom. It's not about race, it's about economics. It's about someone taking advantage of both of us. And when we put our resources, our time and our energy together to fight against that, then not only will your life improve, but my life will improve also. And that's part of the stuff that's going on now down in New York City and in other cities around the country, where people are camping out.
Cities around the world.
Yeah, camping. Well, right, but in this whole movement where the kids are camping out in the park down in New York City, and they're doing it in, I think, 60 other cities supposedly in the United States to fight against corporate greed and corporations taking control of everything. So again, it comes back to the point is there has to be some type of well-defined agenda, because we can't form alliances, with anyone else if we don't know what we want out of the whole thing. Now, looking at this particular bill, Lori, looking at some of the cuts and things that are going on there, some people say, not even from the Republican side, but who's Obama really hurting? Is he really hurting the poor, or is he hurting the rich? Because it seems like more things are skewed toward those people that don't have anything, or the have-nots versus those people that have.
Yeah, well, they're looking at the amount of expense that Medicare and Medicaid cost the government, and that's what they're attacking. And I thought some of the situations in there were horrendous. I mean, I understand, like you said, they look at it as a class thing. I understand that if somebody makes more money, that they may have to pay a bigger deductible or things of that nature, you know, or
premium.
if you're the new people coming in to apply, they're in a different income bracket than the people before, so you're not going to get some of the benefits that they had before. I understand that. Some of it I didn't understand, like I think the rationale that they had about people who have supplemental insurance to cover the other part of their Medicaid, where they were saying, well, they're not really cost conscious about, you know, medical costs.
Well, they were saying
and as a result,
the Cadillac plans,
yeah,
the more expensive plans.
yeah,
But
so they're
it's only-
actually going to be
yeah.
penalized
Right.
because they took out an extra insurance. I don't know if you're looking at it in terms of, well, if they can afford to take out a
Right.
second policy, then they can afford to pay more,
Right.
whether that's the case. But one of the things that struck me as the most difficult is the thing about home care.
Yeah, that really bothered me also.
Where they mentioned that they would look at one episode, for each episode of home care that you would have to pay $100.
Right.
And an
Five
episode
visits.
would be 5 visits.
Right.
But if you look at a good portion of the elderly community,
Right.
where some of them are bedbound or,
Right.
you know, need, 24 or 5 days a week or 7 days a week. I mean, if every week they're paying $100, that's another $400 a month.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine somebody on a fixed income on Medicaid or Medicare or having the assets to qualify for Medicaid or Medicare, being able to afford something like that.
And I couldn't imagine that somebody from the Obama administration would actually say that this was fair, and that pain is going across the board, because when you look at the totality of the policy, Bert, there are going to be cuts made to Medicaid. Now, Medicaid is on the state level, and most people that are getting Medicaid benefits are poor people. So they're cutting back their reimbursements to these states. What happens to those people that have access to care?
That's right. Well, something you said a while ago that I don't know if you accidentally lurched into what you said or you bumped into it, but you said something that had a lot of validity to it when you mentioned who speaks for who. Who represents those people? When they get in the room and they decide that even the White House, who ostensibly is for us, who in there is speaking for the people that Lori pointed out about the cutting the people on that level? Nobody, or an amorphous group is speaking. But the higher you go in terms of income and the people who are paying the rich, whoever, or the semi-rich, even the upper class poor, they have a voice. They have someone in the room who's ringing the bells, who's making them, because there's a lot of issues, like what we just pointed out a while ago, and that $320 billion issue they cut. There's a lot of there's a lot that goes into who's cut. Are we going to cut your sleeve? Are we going to cut this button over here?
Right.
Well, who's speaking for that button? If nobody's speaking, they don't hear you. And they'll actually come out with what you said. You said, that's terrible, that's awful. Well, of course, they're not looking at what's terrible. Who spoke for that person? What lobbying group speaks? And a lot of us don't believe in speaking up too much. Quietness is the vital importance to our lives and our culture. So that's a big problem.
Yeah. And you know what struck me as I was reading the article, just in general, because I always kind of see the big picture, is, first of all, you don't want to get sick in your old age, which is the argument for now taking care of yourself as well as possible now, because you see where all of this is, the direction all of this is moving.